Hey y'all, so I was out here reading the Bible and I was reading Song of Solomon, and like this book of the Bible always used to confuse me because I didn't really see what they was supposed to give in the Bible. And a lot of people was like, oh, it's just pro this in the Bible and it's like pro that, it shows how God operates. But when I looked at it more, because originally I thought it was just about a bunch of compliments for how God made men and God made women, but then I realized it was written by Solomon. And I realized that the reason why Solomon didn't make it into heaven is because you have to look at the way that he was worshiping the idols in his life. The idols in his life would have been his wives. He had 600 wives, and God told him not to even get married at all. But then Solomon was like, if I get married, then look at how I could benefit the kingdom. And he started looking away from God and started looking towards his wives. So when you look at all of Song of Solomon and what he says in Song of Solomon and how he talks about his wives and everything, that's how he was worshiping the idols that he had in his life. And then when I started looking at it from this perspective, I was like, dang, that's exactly why it led to his demise, because he was so busy looking at what God didn't have for him and worshiping what God didn't have for him that he wasn't worshiping God. And when you look at how back in Proverbs, when he was talking about God and he was talking about wisdom and how you have to keep your focus on God and everything, he took that same gift of praise and worship and translated it into woman. That kind of led into his demise. And I was thinking that as Christians, we cannot be caught doing this, because he also did the same thing about a wholesome tongue is the tree of life, but perversiveness in it crushes the spirit. That's exactly how he died. His perverse speech, his perverse vision, how he started looking at his wives, how he started looking at all these idols and everything that God called him and told him that it was unjust and unholy and would lead him to his demise. That's exactly how he got led to his demise. But then I was thinking that we as Christians also have to reflect, because how many of us look at Instagram and look at people and look at their lives and look at how God blessed them and look at how they're living and compare it to us and literally worship them the same way that Solomon was worshiping his wives in all of Song of Solomon. And it's how many of us are leading ourselves into our own demise by looking at all these things that we could have that God didn't give us, that if we did have, we think our lives would be better. But in actuality, it's leading us down a rabbit hole of perverse speech away from the tree of life. Bye guys. God loves you and I love you, but God and Jesus, they love you way more.